Bruce Sterling, one of the original inventors of the future. Why do you laugh, Bruce?
Because it comes here whether I'm here or not, brother.
What comes after the future, though, Bruce?
Well, the future's a process, not a destination. So, if you get to the future, there's just more future.
But why are we so interested in the future? We haven't always been as a human race.
Well, there are a lot of people who ignore that. I mean, there are guys who get up in the morning not knowing where their next meal is coming from, and they can sort of successfully ignore the future. Or not successfully, they just plain do, A lot of people, believe God should make all your decisions, and they just sort of surrender to divine will and just kind of like move through life in that way and take no thought for tomorrow, just go out and bear witness. And that's been a traditional way for people to do it. I mean, people have meta histories, and there are entire cultures that don't respond to the future in the way some people do.
What drew you to the future?
I like narratives. I'm a writer, and I like to put things into verbal order. And I'm especially interested in things that need names or actions that need verbs, nouns and verbs. I find neologisms interesting. I mean, that's one reason I really like to travel in foreign cities where I don't speak the language. I find that it really fires my imagination to be in a place where things just don't have words. And the things that interest people most about the future are entirely new things, unprecedented things. Until the 20-teens, we never saw an event of this kind. Okay, a lot of the stuff that's around us is not that futuristic. I mean, here it is, 2011. We're still wearing, sensible walking shoes. We're sitting in Barcelona chairs. We're holding handheld mics. There's nothing particularly futuristic about that stuff.
Well, this is TechCrunch, right?
Well, TechCrunch is a bit futuristic.
But why were you attracted to the future rather than the past? Can't you find the same narratives and invention of language?
Actually, I'm very attracted to the past. And I've come to feel that they're the same enterprise. I mean, writing history is very much like writing futurist speculation. And I think all truly effective futurists are basically historians. The thing about the future, about the history that people don't understand is its instability. That events are redefined, they're continually being retold over and over again. And there's big chunks of stuff missing. Like, until the 1970s, nobody really thought much about the history of women. There just wasn't much to say about them. They were there, they had babies, they were traded among powerful men, and it just wasn't considered part of a narrative. But that's like more than half the human race there, because they're like the gender majority. So, a switch goes on in people's heads, and they start saying, wait a minute, we've got like a history here which is ignoring half of everybody, and then there are sort of various limited ways to recast that, and that's just like an ongoing struggle, and it's carried out mostly in books and classrooms. It's a social struggle like a political struggle.
For people in our audience who want to understand the future, what history should they read?
Well, I think in order to understand the future, you have to understand something that engages you about the future. You can't just understand the future. It's like trying to understand all of history. If you really want to understand something, you need to find something that like wakes you up intellectually that you can sort of commit to. So, typically that would be people's families, family histories, genealogies, super popular. If you want to know something about the past, finding out about your own grandparents is usually a really good idea. Finding out about your great-grandparents might really wake you up to some aspect. Finding out about places you live, things that mean something to you, an industry that you're involved in, the history of your own line of work. I mean, that's the stuff that's likely to lead you to insight because it won't bore you. You'll actually, you'll be able to come to terms with it and make it work.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, but for me, it centers around narratives and words. So I'm like always looking for okay, what did they used to call this? How long did that name last? That sort of thing. And since I'm, a talkative guy, as you could tell, that's kind of an easy entry into both futurity and history for me.